G'day and welcome back to the Bid Talk Show. Sorry it's dark, it's 4 a.m. and I'm on the way to my wage job to stack more sats. So in this video I think I'm going to talk about timing the top. About 2 years ago, I set a reminder in my calendar to say, hey, we're 18 months after the halving, look to sell some Bitcoin. That reminder popped up October sometime. I think it was late October. The maxis in the comments will know. So I said, look to sell some Bitcoin. Now, my dilemma was, I looked at the timing, I looked at the price. I thought, okay, we're 16k from the bottom. I think the price at that time was around 105, 108. Seemed pretty good. Now, the problem was, like many others, I don't time the bottom. I didn't time the bottom. Far from it. So I didn't feel like I was gaining that much anyway. I thought it's better to just hold for 200-300k. But the other key deciding factor was, probably a year ago, I said to myself, I'm not just going to go off timing the top. I'm going to go off on-chain data. Something that gives you a little tiny crystal ball into the back end of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network. Something that a lot of people don't look at, and they purely look at price and charts and technical analysis. Now, people like James Check, also known as Checkmatey, who runs a website called Check on Chain. He's got a lot of free data on there. It's been very helpful. He's got a chart called the Hodler's chart. So yeah, if you're feeling the FUD, have a look at that, and it'll help you realize we're far from a top or far from a bottom. Anyway, back to my point, timing the top. I said to myself, I'm going to look at all the data and the macroeconomics, what's happening in the world. Are they doing QT? Are they doing QE in America? Because the US dollar really drives it all. What's the president doing? What's the rest of the market doing? What's the S&P doing? What's gold doing? What all the macros are doing in relation to Bitcoin, in relation to on-chain data. Things in on-chain data I've been looking at, the Hodler's chart is nice on Check on Chain. Pi cycle top, if you go back through that, it's been able to nail the top virtually every time. Pretty profound. And if you look at it right now, we are way below the bottom line, which I think is don't quote me on this, I think it's a 150 or 175 or 125 SMA. But it's more complex than that. You know, have a look into it yourself. And the top of that is 200k. And every time that crosses, it's identified the top really well. So that's deviating out of the bottom band. So it's ages away. Then you've got MVRV on the Z score. I used to know what it means. I think it's mean value and realized value. Have a look, you'll see. That Z score has also helped identify tops. So anything above, I believe, 7, you're starting to get into the overbought area. So MVR, Pi cycle top, the Hodler's chart, they're just some of the metrics I've been looking at. Now I try and click through basically every chart I can find, and at the same time I watch as much James Check as I can to help me understand that data, because it's one thing to look at a chart, it's a second thing to actually understand what it means and why it's happening. If you're not watching What Bitcoin Did yet, he always does a great video with Danny Knowles on there. So yeah, check it out. Very helpful. It's been very helpful in not selling. So, you'll say, oh, well, you should have sold at the 18-month mark. A lot of the whales were. Yeah, I get that. But I said to myself, if the price and the time and the data all don't line up, something's wrong. Something's off. If we got to late October and price was at 250, 300k, for example, we'd be in a great position on stock to flow. If MVRV was up, price cycle top was nearing across, it just didn't match. Nothing matched. Hence, I held. Now, I was never going to dump all my coins anyway. It was only going to be a very small percentage for, some debt relief, some lifestyle chips, little bit of dry powder for on the way down. But again, I'm not trading this very much. I'm happy to play with a few percentage points in the trade, but I'm sorry it's so dark. I'm going into a section where there's no lights. Let's see if that works. Alright, don't want to leave this on for too long. Yeah, so it all just didn't match up. And sometimes you got to go with your gut. Sometimes you're telling yourself for many months and years, this is what I'm going to do, and it doesn't happen. Pivot a little bit. Oh, yeah, I was saying I'm not going to sell much for trading. It was going to be a couple percentage points. At the end of the day, every time you sell, you'll look back in 10 years and regret it. And I don't want to do that. That's probably another story for another time. So yeah, take away from this video that on-chain data is a little crystal ball into the world of Bitcoin. Doesn't tell you everything, but it can help you understand a little bit what's going on. Now, I wasn't expecting any views in any of these videos, so to the 20 odd subscribers, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I was shocked to have a couple hundred views on a video. So yeah, thanks very much. Cheers. Have a good one.